Single dad's incredible 10-mile journey for a job interview revealed an unexpected CEO connection. Jack took a deep breath as he stepped out into the crisp morning air, the sun beginning to rise over the small Midwestern town. Today was different, he could feel it in his bones. Today, he would embark on a grueling 10-mile trek to a job interview that could change everything for him and his spirited daughter, Emma. After losing his factory job, the struggle to keep their home intact and support Emma's college dreams weighed heavily on him, threatening to crush the bond they shared. As he waved goodbye to her, buried in her books, he caught a glimpse of the tension brewing between them. Was it too late to mend the fraying threads of their relationship? With every step down the familiar streets, Jack found warmth in the faces he'd known all his life. An elderly veteran waved, eyes sparkling with memories of better days, and the local diner owner offered him a nod of solidarity, their unspoken connection reviving his strength. These moments reminded him why he fought so hard to keep their lives together, even as the prejudice of being a down-and-out father gnawed at his soul. The town bustled around him, its autumn colors glowing under the morning light. Each footfall echoed his determination, each inhale filled him with the hope of a brighter future. Yet, as he neared the interview location, anxiety flooded in like shadows creeping over his heart. What if he didn't impress? Every doubt cut deeper as he grappled with memories of aspirations now buried in hardship. The American dream felt like an elusive ghost, mocking him with its unattainable promise. Just as despair threatened to consume him, fate intervened like the sweetest twist in a novel. He entered the building for the interview, heart racing, only to see a familiar face. The CEO sitting across from him was his old classmate, a face from the past he thought he'd left behind. A whirlwind of emotions surged through Jack, awakening memories of dreams they once shared, dreams that now felt so far out of reach. Would their past still hold value in the harsh light of their current lives? Jack steadied his breath, grappling with the weight of this revelation. Could this connection bridge the chasm carved by the struggles he faced as a father? Just as he opened his mouth to respond to the first question, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a message from Emma. His heart raced. Could it be something that would change everything yet again? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jack felt his heart pounding, a mixture of fear and hope swelling inside him. Each tick of the clock echoed louder than the last, the tension building as he squinted at the screen. Could the tide be turning? Was this message from Emma the encouragement he needed or another reminder of the weight pressing down on them both? He wiped his clammy hands on his jeans and took a deep breath, ready to face his fears head-on. With everything on the line, he knew there was no turning back. Would his fierce resilience be enough to overcome the overwhelming odds stacked against them? Jack's fingers trembled slightly as he finally pulled out his phone. The message from Emma was simple but powerful. Dad, I believe in you. Just do your best. Love you. A surge of warmth spread through him, dispelling the shadows of doubt that had infiltrated his mind. He glanced up at the CEO, who waited patiently, a small smile playing at the corner of his lips, as if he understood the weight Jack carried. Perhaps he did. They had shared so many dreams once, and now they were both here, facing the harshness of reality. His heart swelled, bolstered by Emma's unwavering support. Jack inhaled deeply, grounding himself in the moment. This was not just about securing a job, it was about setting a foundation for Emma's future, and perhaps repairing their strained relationship. He straightened his posture and met the CEO's gaze, ready to seize this opportunity. The interview unfolded like an old familiar song, with questions that dug into his past experiences and skills. Jack answered with a renewed vigor, drawing on his years of hard work and determination. Each response felt like a brick being laid down, constructing a path forward, one that he hoped would lead him and Emma to a better life. As the discussion progressed, Jack began to feel less like a desperate man seeking a second chance and more like a proud father fighting for something greater. He shared stories of the challenges he faced after losing his job, how it affected not just his finances but his spirit. The CEO listened intently, nodding thoughtfully. There was a spark of recognition in his eyes, the understanding that many could only dream of having. After what felt like a lifetime, the interview drew to a close. "I appreciate your honesty and your passion, Jack," the CEO said, leaning forward slightly. "It's clear you've faced some tough times, but you have a strength in you that I find admirable. Let's keep in touch. I know how difficult these times can be." Jack's heart raced, a mix of relief and hope flooding him. It wasn't a guarantee, but it was more than he had dared to expect. The flicker of light was there, but it wasn't just from this chance, it was from the belief this man had in him, a reflection of what he hoped could also exist within himself. As he stepped out of the building, the air felt different, lighter. It was as if the burden he carried had shifted just a little. But as he took those first steps back home, a worry crept back in. What if this wasn't enough? What if the connection meant nothing once he left that office? Turning the corner, Jack saw a group of kids playing in the park, laughter ringing through the air. It echoed the joy he wanted for Emma. Would their lives finally align with that hope? He pulled out his phone again, practically running his finger over Emma's name. A text to share the good news, to let her know that he wouldn't give up, not now, not ever. But as he typed, another message arrived, interrupting his flow. This one was different. "Dad, something happened. I need you." The smile fell from Jack's face. Something inside him shifted again, a new worry battling for dominance. What had happened? Was Emma okay? He quickly pressed send to his earlier message, then headed back towards home, heart racing. Whatever this was, it seemed his journey was far from over. What awaited him at home would challenge everything he thought he understood about resilience and fatherhood. Panic surged through Jack as he rushed towards home, his heart pounding in rhythm with each hurried step. The familiar streets felt foreign now, as if each block held a new weight of anxiety. He could hardly focus on anything but that text. What did Emma need? The innocent laughter of the children faded, overtaken by the urgent thoughts racing through his mind. He arrived at their small apartment, breathless and disheveled. His hand hesitated on the doorknob, he could feel the tension swirling inside him, a heavy fog of uncertainty. What if she was hurt? What if he had been too caught up in his own hopes that he overlooked something important at home? He pushed the door open, the familiar creak echoing in the stillness. "Emma," he called out, his voice a mix of authority and concern. The apartment was quiet, an ominous calm that only heightened his unease. He stepped further inside, scanning the room until he spotted her sitting on the living room floor, surrounded by scattered papers and art supplies. "Dad!" Emma looked up, her face a mixture of relief and something else he couldn't decipher. "I'm so glad you're home. What happened, Em?" Jack dropped to his knees beside her, worry knitting his brow. "You said you needed me." She hesitated, glancing down at the mess of papers, her small hands fidgeting with the corners. "I tried to make you a card," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I accidentally spilled juice on it." Jack let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. His heart, which had been banging against his chest with fear, softened. "Is that what this is about?" "Not exactly," she said, biting her lip. "I mean, I didn't want you to be sad if you didn't get the job. I wanted to make something special for you." Jack's heart swelled with love and sadness all at once. It struck him how deeply she cared, trying to shield him from disappointment even at her young age. He picked up a crumpled piece of paper that had been smeared with juice. "This is beautiful, Emma. I love it. But you don't have to worry about me, okay? Just seeing you is all I need. But what if it doesn't work out? Emma's eyes brimmed with concern, the innocence of childhood battling against the harshness of reality. It might not, Jack admitted honestly, feeling the weight of truth settle in. But I'll keep trying. No matter what. He reached out, pulling her into a tight hug. In that moment, he realized that uncertainty was a part of life, but the bond they shared was their strongest asset. It wouldn't always be easy, but together they could face whatever came their way. Can we make it better together? Emma whispered, her voice muffled against his shoulder. Jack pulled back to look at her, a smile breaking through the worry. Absolutely. We can make a new card together. And I'll help you clean up this mess. As they set to work, laughter replaced the tension in the air. They talked about memories while they crafted, each moment further stitching their hearts back together. But just as they finished, Jack's phone buzzed again, almost startling him. He grabbed it, his heart dropping as he saw the name flashing on the screen. It was the CEO. "Let us see what this is about," he said, a flicker of hope dancing in his chest. Whatever was written there had the power to change everything once more, for better or worse. Jack held his breath, bracing for what could be the next step in his journey and a chance to show Emma that together, they would never give up. What decision would await him in that message? And would it lead to the new beginning he so desperately sought? As Jack stared at the screen, the world around him faded into a blur. He could feel Emma's curious gaze on him, her small fingers still busy with the crayons, but his mind was consumed by the uncertainty that loomed in that text. With a deep breath, he opened the message. The words poured out, brief yet loaded. "Jack, I'd like to schedule a follow-up interview. Let us discuss your vision for our team. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. It was a lifeline, an invitation that fluttered with promise but also burdened him with the pressure of expectations. His heart raced. This could be it. This could change everything for him and Emma. Tomorrow, he whispered, mostly to himself. "What does it say?" Emma asked, her voice tinged with excitement. "Did they say yes?" Jack knelt down, a mixture of elation and anxiety swirling inside him. "They want to talk to me again," he said, the corners of his mouth lifting despite the nerves colliding in his stomach. "It could be a big deal." Emma's eyes sparkled. "Do you think you'll get the job?" He nodded, though doubt whispered in the back of his mind. "I have to believe I can. But I also need to prepare. Can you help me practice?" "Yeah," she exclaimed, jumping to her feet. "What do you want to pretend to say?" Jack chuckled, grateful for her enthusiasm. Their little scene felt like a dance between hope and fear. They began to brainstorm together, and Emma eagerly suggested ridiculous questions, each sillier than the last. As they laughed, a sense of normalcy washed over him amid the storm of emotions. Yet, deep down, Jack felt the weight of the responsibility that tomorrow would bring. This wasn't just about him, it was about building a future for Emma. And for that future to be bright, he needed to make it happen. As the evening slipped away, they began creating a plan. They rehearsed some answers, gather ideas for questions Jack could ask, and even make a little poster to rally behind. "You will get this, Dad," Emma said, her determination shining through. "And if not, we'll just make more cards together, right?" Jack smiled, but he could see the worry still flickering in her eyes. "No matter what happens, we always have each other. But let us aim high, okay?" They stayed up late, fueled by soft snacks and shared dreams, their laughter creating a blanket of warmth around them. As they finally started to wind down, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something was on the cusp of changing for both of them. He tucked Emma into bed, gratitude swelling inside him for her spirit. "I'll make you a promise," he whispered, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear. "Whatever happens, I'm going to give it my all." Emma yawned, her eyelids drooping. "Promise?" she mumbled, sleepiness mixing with the weight of impending uncertainty. "Promise," he assured, kissing her forehead. As he closed her bedroom door with a quiet click, Jack leaned against it for a moment. In that silence, his phone buzzed again, a split second before he turned away. Curiosity tangled with dread. What if it was more news? What if it wasn't what he hoped? Drawing in a steadying breath, he turned back to the glow of the screen. The message awaited him like a shadow looming over the promise of tomorrow. He reached for it slowly, realizing it wasn't just the CEO's name that sent shivers down his spine, it was the potential to write a new story. Stepping into the light, Jack felt his heart thudding against his ribcage. What had he overlooked? Perhaps an opportunity he hadn't seen coming? And just as he opened the message, an unexpected sound echoed from Emma's room, a faint call. "Dad?" Jack's heart raced, not only with anticipation but also with a rising question. What did that second message hold? Was it the sound of new beginnings or an echo of hidden fears? Jack hesitated, the phone still in his hand. Just a second. He called back to Emma. His heart was thumping, and he felt the weight of the world resting on his shoulders. What was that message saying? It seemed insignificant compared to the call of his daughter, but he'd need a few moments to compose himself. "Are you okay?" Emma's voice floated through the slightly ajar door, laced with concern. "Yeah, just thinking," he replied, fighting to take a steady breath. With a nervous hand, he unlocked the phone and read the message again. It was from Claire, the HR director who had interviewed him for the role in the first place. Another chance to solidify his vision? Or could it be a courtesy reply that would twist the knife deeper? "Dad?" Emma's voice cut through again, pulling him back from the edge of his thoughts. He took a deep breath, put the phone down, and went into her room. There she was, nestled under the covers, her teddy bear hugged tightly against her chest. The contrast between her innocence and the chaos in his mind was jarring. "What's up, Em? I couldn't sleep." She lifted her arms for a hug. Jack stepped closer and scooped her up, feeling the warmth of her body against him. He could drown in this moment, wrapped in love, forgetting the burdens that lay ahead. "Do you want to talk?" he asked softly, tucking her back into bed and sitting on the edge. "About the job?" she asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Jack nodded, realizing she could sense his unease. "I got a message, more news about my interview." "Good news?" "Maybe." He hesitated, weighing his words carefully. "I just need to make sure I'm ready for it." "But you and I can do this together, right?" Her face lit up as she settled back against her pillows. "Yeah. Let's practice again. I want to be your best helper." Jack couldn't help but smile. The way she believed in him filled his heart with energy he didn't know he had left. "Okay, let's do it. But you have to be serious, okay? No silly questions this time." Emma giggled, but she nodded earnestly. "I promise." "Serious questions, then." They spent the next hour going over potential questions. Jack answered eloquently, helped by Emma's encouragement, but deep inside, his heart still felt heavy with uncertainty. Each time he thought about tomorrow, a gnawing fear crept in. What if he wasn't good enough? What if he stumbled over his words or failed to impress? Finally, they wrapped up their practice. Emma yawned and snuggled deeper into her blanket. As she drifted off, Jack remained at her side, watching her sleep. He wished he could bottle that innocence and light, finding strength in it for himself. A tiny knock on the door pulled him back from his thoughts. It was the neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, standing patiently on his doorstep. "Sorry to interrupt," she said, her voice soft, "but I made some cookies. I thought you two might like some." Jack's heart warmed at the gesture. Small acts of kindness always seemed to appear just when he needed them. "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That's so nice of you." As she left, he took the plate of cookies and went back to his room. Munching on a cookie, he glanced at his phone again. He should prepare more for tomorrow, yet he felt an unshakable pull to enjoy this tiny thing of warmth and sweetness. Maybe tomorrow wouldn't be so daunting after all. He couldn't forget that second message, though. What had he overlooked? The thought lingered, waiting to unravel. What if it held the key to everything he and Emma hoped for? Just as he bit into the last cookie, his phone buzzed again, and Jack's stomach knotted. Another message awaited. Was it time to face whatever this new twist held? Or was it simply more noise in an already chaotic world? His heart raced as he set the plate down, preparing to dive into whatever this next moment might reveal. Jack stared at the screen, heart pounding. He slowly swiped to unlock the phone, reading the new message. It was from Claire again. "Hi Jack, let us connect tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'd like to discuss your application and some additional things pertaining to the role." The simple message felt like a tidal wave. His mind raced with possibilities. Claire wanted to talk more about the position. Did this mean he was in the running? He felt a rush of excitement mixed with a fresh wave of anxiety. Could he make a meaningful impression in their conversation? Suddenly, the weight of his daughter's trusting gaze from earlier returned. She had faith in him, and he had to find a way to harness that energy. He took a deep breath, pushing away the self-doubt creeping in again. Jack shook off the uncertainty, reminding himself that this was just one more step on a path he desperately wanted to walk. He tiptoed out of Emma's room and went back to his own. The kitchen table was littered with papers, his job research, notes for potential interview questions, facts about the company that felt almost overwhelming. Yet, in the middle of the chaos, he spotted the little drawing Emma had done for him. It was a simple stick figure with wide eyes beneath the words, "You can do it, Dad." Jack smiled, feeling a surge of hope. If she could believe in him, maybe he could believe in himself too. He grabbed a notepad and jotted down a few key points he wanted to discuss with Claire. He thought about his skills, his experiences, and what he could bring to the table. The more he focused, the more his confidence began to rebuild itself like a weary soldier gathering strength. The next hour passed as he prepared. Each note felt like armor, each scribbled thought a shield against the insecurities that had been paralyzing him. He imagined the conversation, picturing Claire smiling, leaning forward, and valuing what he had to say. The clock showed it was well past midnight. Jack's eyelids began to droop. He needed sleep, but he couldn't shake the thought that this opportunity held something bigger. As he finally crawled into bed, he pulled out his phone one last time to check his calendar. Eyes heavy with exhaustion, he couldn't help but feel a new sense of determination. Tomorrow was a day laden with potential. The thought shifted his focus back to Emma, her endless energy and optimism always a source of strength for him. He whispered to the darkness of his room, "Tomorrow's going to be the start of something good." Just as he closed his eyes, another buzz interrupted the stillness. It was an alert, an email notification. Jack's heart raced again, a new thrill of curiosity pushing him to check. Was it a reminder about the meeting? Or something else entirely? He opened his inbox, and the title of the new email sent a shiver down his spine, "Interview Introduction from CEO." The world around him disappeared. This wasn't just another message, this was a connection he hadn't anticipated, a direct line to someone pivotal. What did this mean for his future? As he opened the email, a mix of excitement and dread settled in his chest. There was no telling what lay on the other side of that screen and whether this connection would lift him or leave him hanging. His mind raced with questions as he leaned closer to the phone, ready to uncover whatever truth awaited him. This moment felt charged, like a spark waiting to ignite. What would it reveal? Was this the breakthrough he sought, or just another step toward disappointment? Jack whispered to himself, "This is it." And with that thought echoing in his mind, he braced for whatever was on the horizon, on the brink of transformation. Jack's fingers shook slightly as he opened the email. It was as if the world had compressed into that single moment, a pause thick with possibility. He couldn't breathe for a second, and then, he started reading. "Dear Jack," it began, and he imagined Claire's voice, smooth and professional, echoing in his mind. She wrote about the upcoming interview and how the CEO wanted to meet all prospective candidates personally before the final decision. Jack could hardly process the weight of her words. The CEO, a chance to meet the person at the top. He read further. I believe this opportunity could be a game changer for everyone involved. It would be great for you to present your ideas and what you can bring to our team. His heart raced. This was huge. Jack's mind spun with excitement and anxiety all over again. Could he be ready to face the scrutiny of someone so high in the company? But then he remembered Emma, her faith in him, her drawings of encouragement. He couldn't ignore how she seemed to believe he was meant for something more. He closed his eyes for a moment, forcing himself to breathe deeply. This was a moment that could transform everything for both him and Emma. The job wasn't just about his career, it was about building a future for the two of them. He had to push the fear aside and replace it with determination. The next day arrived, vibrant and filled with possibilities. Jack woke up earlier than usual, fueled by the adrenaline pumping in his veins. He spent the morning adjusting his resume and reviewing his notes. Everything needed to be polished, sharp, and ready. He didn't want to miss a single moment of this chance. As the clock neared 2, Jack dressed neatly in his best clothes. In the mirror, he looked both nervous and resolute. You can do this, Dad, he murmured, as if Emma were standing beside him, cheering him on. With a final glance at her drawing pinned on the corkboard, he grabbed his bag and stepped outside. The sun was shining, and the world felt different today, crisper, as if everything had shifted just slightly into a space of hope. Jack felt each step as he walked toward the company headquarters. The street buzzed with life, and he took in the sounds: the distant chatter, the rustle of the wind through trees. Each sound seemed to echo the significance of his journey. When he arrived, bright glass buildings towered around him, reflecting the sun like shards of determination. He felt small standing there, but also empowered. This was more than just an interview, it was a stand against every doubt that had ever seeped into his mind. As he entered the lobby, he was met with an aura of professionalism and energy. He signed in and took a seat, glancing around and noticing the keen focus of everyone busy at work. Behind the reception desk, a clock ticked steadily, each second echoing louder than the last. A few moments later, Claire stepped into the lobby, her presence instantly commanding. Jack's heart skipped a beat as their eyes met. She walked toward him with a warm smile, and suddenly the weight of the world felt lighter. "Hi, Jack," she greeted enthusiastically. "Ready for the next step?" Jack nodded, forcing a confident smile despite the whirlwind of anxiety rebuilding in his chest. "Absolutely," he replied, trying to keep his tone steady. Just then, the ambience shifted as a tall man walked past, his demeanor radiating authority. Jack's breath hitched slightly. Was this the CEO? "I've heard good things about you," the man's voice rang out, and it struck Jack like a bolt of electricity. This was his moment to prove himself. Claire gestured for Jack to follow her, and as they walked down the hall, Jack felt his heartbeat thudding in his ears. What lay ahead felt monumental, and there was no turning back now. As they reached the conference room door, Jack turned to Claire, ready to ask a question that had been nagging at him since last night. Before he could speak, a thought crossed his mind: was he truly ready for this? The door swung open, and Jack stepped inside, his heart pounding at what lay ahead. Would he find success or new challenges waiting in the wings? As he entered, the unexpected face of the CEO was almost too much to process. Jack swallowed hard, ready to confront the moment he had longed for. Little did he know, this encounter was more than just a turning point in his career, it would soon unveil secrets he never expected at all. The conference room was bright, filled with glossy surfaces and a long, polished table at its center. Jack's eyes darted around, taking in the sleek designs and modern artwork lining the walls. He felt a buzz in the air, an energy that felt both intimidating and exhilarating. As he stood there, the CEO, a formidable figure in a tailored suit, gestured toward a chair at the far end of the table. "Jack, please take a seat. I've been looking forward to our conversation. Jack settled into the chair, his palms clammy against the leather. The CEO leaned back, studying him. Jack could feel that gaze, as if it were peeling away every layer of self-doubt. The man's silver hair glinted in the fluorescent lights, and for a brief moment, Jack wondered how he had risen to such heights. "Let's talk about your vision for the role," the CEO began, his voice steady, commanding, yet surprisingly warm. "What do you bring to the team?" The question swirled around in Jack's mind. He thought of Emma, her laughter, her drawings, her hopeful spirit that charged his own. "I believe I have a fresh perspective and a passion to drive things forward," he said, the words surprising him with their clarity. "Passion is crucial," the CEO replied, nodding. "But let us hear about your ideas specifically." Jack took a deep breath, tapping into every moment he spent preparing. He spoke about innovation, teamwork, and what the company could achieve with a little risk-taking. It felt freeing as he articulated thoughts he had once reserved for quiet moments at home. He could see Claire listening intently, and it propelled him even further. The CEO leaned forward. "That's a great start, but what about your experience? You come from a unique background." The abrupt shift in focus made Jack's stomach drop. He knew he had been called in as an outsider who had climbed against many odds. "I've worked hard to adapt and grow in various environments," he replied, trying to steady his voice. "Being a single dad has taught me resilience and creativity, which I believe are invaluable in any job." The CEO raised an eyebrow slightly, intrigued. Jack's heart skipped. He had touched on something real, something personal. Would it resonate? Resilience, huh? The CEO mused, tapping his fingers on the table. "You know, I admire that. My father was a single parent too." The words hung heavy in the air. Jack's throat constricted, a mix of surprise and connection blossoming between them. This wasn't just business, it was personal. The unguarded honesty sparked something deep within Jack. "I didn't expect that," Jack said, a touch of awe creeping into his tone. "What was that experience like for you?" A ghost of a smile flickered across the CEO's face. "Challenging at times, but it shaped me. These experiences teach you a lot about strength. It drives you to succeed, doesn't it?" Jack nodded thoughtfully. "Absolutely. It makes you appreciate the little victories." They exchanged a charged look, a silent understanding passing between them. It was a moment of shared experience that transcended the interview. Just then, Claire interjected, her voice bringing them back to the present. "Jack, the next question is about your long-term goals. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Jack paused, the weight of the question felt heavier now. He wanted a future, not just for himself, but for Emma too. How he answered could shift the course of his life. "I see myself here, growing alongside this team, contributing in meaningful ways. I want to create a situation where my daughter can thrive in a world that values hard work and dedication." The CEO studied him again, a glimmer in his eye. "I appreciate your honesty, Jack. Everyone needs to feel at home in their work." As they continued the conversation, Jack felt that they were not merely discussing his qualifications, they were shaping the foundation of something that mattered deeply. Suddenly, the prospect of this job felt more significant than anything he had envisioned. But just as he began to feel a spark of hope building inside him, the door swung open, and a staff member entered with an urgent look on their face. The CEO straightened, his expression shifting, budding tension crackling in the air. "What's wrong?" he asked, his voice suddenly serious. Jack's heart raced again. Was this something that could change everything? What kind of unexpected twist awaited them all? The staff member's voice broke through the tension, sharp and clear. "Sir, we've just received an alert about the regional shifts. It may impact our strategy moving forward." Jack felt a jolt in his stomach. Was this why he was brought in? Was the whole plan about to unravel right before them? The room felt charged as the CEO sat up straight, his expression morphing into one of laser focus. "Details," he demanded, his eyes boring into the staff member. The younger man stepped forward, clearly rattled. "The latest reports indicate a downturn in key markets. We might lose our foothold if we don't respond quickly." Jack watched the CEO's face as information sunk in. The weight of the moment settled heavily on everyone in the room, like a thick fog rolling in. Conversations about potential and passion suddenly seemed distant compared to the hard reality now laid bare. Jack could see the tension ripple through the CEO. He understood the stakes, the pressure that poured down like cold rain. "What are our options?" the CEO pressed, fiercely commanding even in the tight confines of worry. "We need to reevaluate our upcoming campaigns," the staff member stammered, struggling to keep it concise. "There's talk of scaling back resources and focusing on the most profitable projects." Jack's mind raced. This was the chance to show his worth. He wanted to interject, to offer something valuable amidst the crisis. "Maybe we can explore new partnerships or different markets expand beyond our current scope." He spoke quickly, unable to keep the urgency from his voice. The suggestion popped out, surprising himself for a moment. The CEO's gaze shifted toward him, assessing. "Elaborate on that," he said, interest piqued. Jack felt a rush of adrenaline. "If we're losing ground, we need to pivot, not retreat. I've seen companies thrive by entering less saturated markets or collaborating with local players. We can tap into fresh ideas and innovations, maybe even revive our brand's creativity along the way." Claire's eyes widened a bit, and Jack could see her considering his words. The staff member nodded, as if he was also realizing the potential. "What about the core projects we have? Will collaboration detract from our main objectives?" the CEO inquired, giving Jack a chance to defend his suggestion. "No. If anything, it can add value. Joining forces can create a unique offering, one that sets us apart from competitors," Jack insisted, trying to sound calm while his insides churned with anticipation. The CEO's gaze shifted across the table, weighing Jack's input. "Interesting," he said slowly, pondering, "innovative thinking, it's something we've been missing." Jack felt a flicker of hope kindling again, a spark amidst the chaos. Maybe this job was meant for him. Maybe he could transcend the mere candidate role and become part of the company's lifeblood. The air pulsed with possibility before the urgency of the moment came crashing back. The CEO stood abruptly, motioning for the staff member to gather more information. "We will regroup in 10 minutes, he ordered, snapping into decisive leader mode. As they stood, the atmosphere shifted again. Jack had offered a glimmer of hope at the brink of uncertainty. He could feel the gravity of the conversation changing, but along with it, shadows of doubt crept back. Could he really make a difference here? Why did it feel like the stakes had just been raised even higher? Just as he thought he could breathe a little easier, the staff member cast a wary glance before leaving the room. "We've got a lot to figure out," he muttered, disappearing into the corridor. With just Jack, Claire, and the CEO remaining, Claire's expression was a mix of anticipation and concern. "Jack, with all that's happening, do you still think you can fit into this rapidly changing environment?" His heart raced at the question. The weight of her inquiry hit home hard. Could he really stand tall in the storm ahead? "Absolutely," Jack replied, locking eyes with the CEO. "I've been adapting to changes my whole life." The CEO nodded, confidence blooming on his face. "Good. Because I think we're going to need all hands on deck." Jack noted the determination in the CEO's eyes. It made him question the strength of his own resolve. Would he rise to the challenge or crumble under the pressure? The moment hung heavy between them, full of promise and uncertainty, as he wondered, with his heart pounding, what the next few hours would truly demand of him. Would he find himself rising with this company, or would the tides pull him under? The minutes ticked by like a pendulum in the room filled with anticipation. Jack's heart raced, adrenaline pulsing through him with every breath. He could feel the weight of expectation not just from the CEO or Claire, but from his very core. This wasn't just about a job anymore, this was about survival, about proving to Emma that resilience could yield a brighter tomorrow. The CEO broke the tension, leaning forward. "All right, Jack. Let us not waste time. You mentioned partnerships. Let us dive into specifics. Who do you envision collaborating with?" Jack's mind spun as he grasped for ideas, feeling the hot breath of opportunity at his back. Perhaps local startups and community projects. They often have innovative ideas but lack resources. We could leverage our infrastructure to support them in ways that add value to our brand. The CEO nodded, a spark of inspiration lighting his eyes. Claire leaned in too, the three of them working like a team suddenly infused with fresh momentum. Jack felt the thrill of being part of something bigger, something vital. Each suggestion he made breathed life back into the room, each word resonating with passion. "I also think we could launch a platform for feedback," he continued, emboldened by the CEO's interest. "Engaging communities can help us understand market needs directly and serve them effectively." The CEO smiled, an approving economy of expression that filled Jack with confidence. "That's a strong idea. I like your proactive thinking, Jack. It keeps our focus on the customer while adapting to our circumstances." As they brainstormed through strategies, the once daunting weight of hesitation began to lift. Jack's confidence flourished, bolstered by the thrill of possibility coursing through him. They exchanged ideas and projections, and with each passing moment, Jack realized he was starting to feel like he belonged. Then came the urgent knock again. The staff member returned, urgency etched into every line of his face. "Sir, we've just received news that the board is gathering. They want to discuss potential cuts. We need your input on our new direction." Fear skated through Jack for an instant. He couldn't let this chance slip away. As the CEO stood, Jack shot a determined glance at him, willing him to recognize the potential that shimmered just out of reach. "Let me be a part of this discussion. I have ideas that can make a real impact, especially as we navigate these changes." The room felt electric with urgency, and the CEO paused, considering Jack's plea. "All right, come with me," he said, motioning for Jack to follow. In a whirlwind of movement, they strode toward the boardroom, where an air of tension lingered among the executives. As he walked behind the CEO, Jack felt every set of eyes turn toward him. Every hesitant smile shifted into unreadable looks that both intimidated and drove him. The CEO commanded the room upon entering, "We have a new strategy we need to discuss, and I want Jack to present his ideas. He has concepts that align with our growing needs." With the spotlight suddenly on him, Jack's heart hammered. This was the moment he dreamed of, but would he be able to turn the tide? "Thank you all for your time," he began, trying to swallow past the lump in his throat. "As we face these challenges, I believe the key lies in collaboration and community engagement. I have a vision that focuses on innovation while connecting us directly to our customers." Jack's voice rang out, steadier than he had expected as he launched into his ideas. With every point he made, the thrumming nerves in his chest started to quiet. He drew from his past experiences, incorporating anecdotes from being a single father and the resilience that came from adversity. These moments resonated with the board, he could see it in their faces, a flicker of understanding, a glimmer of belief. As he wrapped up, a road of energy flowed between him and the executives. A confident yet gentle murmur grew, discussions buzzing like bees around blossoms. A curious momentum, rooted in newfound hope, filled the room. Jack felt the shift, the realization that perhaps he could indeed be a catalyst for change. The CEO nodded appreciatively, looking at Jack like he had unearthed a gem. "Thank you, Jack. This kind of thinking is precisely what we need right now," he said. After the meeting, Claire stepped up, her expression one of admiration. "You did great. You really shifted the conversation." Jack's heart soared, a feeling akin to flying. Thanks, Claire. I just wanted to show that we can find a way. As he stepped out into the bright light of a new day, for the first time in a long while, Jack truly believed that everything would be okay. He picked up his phone, excitement bubbling inside him as he prepared to text Emma. He wanted her to know she was the heart of his drive, the beacon lighting his way. We did it, Emma. I have a chance to change things. As he hit send, there was no worry left in his heart, only the warmth of possibility. Because sometimes, against all odds, the most difficult battles become the beginnings of beautiful transformations. And today, Jack felt undeniably transformed. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait not even one more second to share.